the new character outfits, and dazzling shows. Everyone's excited to join. Delight in special 70th experiences, like an all-new World of Color show, the returning favorite Paint the Night Parade, and so much more, only for a limited time. So come join us for this once-in-a-lifetime celebration with a special ticket offer as low as $100 per day with a special 4-day, 1-park-per-day ticket. Total price $400. Valid May 16 through August 14, 2025. Park ticket and reservation required. Visit Disneyland.com/70 ticket offer for details. Offering subject to capacity restrictions and change without notice.
When you hear
crunch,
whine,
boing,
Alaskan AC will arrive to fix it in less than 24 hours from the first crunch,
whine,
boing, no matter what kind of
crunch,
whine,
or boing your AC is making.
we fix it on your schedule.
That's huge. We guarantee to be there in 24 hours or less, or the repair is free.
We not only get there fast, we Polar Bear promise we'll get the job done right.
We believe you deserve fresh air free of humidity in every room of your home, and you should never hear crunch,
Whine,
boing.
If you do, call Alaskan AC, and we guarantee we'll be there in under 24 hours.
If we don't make it, your repair will be free.
no matter how big the crunch.
Boing.
Or whine.
Wait, I thought I was whine.
You're crunch.
I'm crunch. You're boing.
I don't think I'm boing. Gary's more of a boing than me.
William is crunch.
Schedule now and tell us who boing is. Only at AlaskanAC.com.
We're chatting with our guest, always safety first, 811 Megaphone Man.
Call 811 before you dig.
You never stray from your mission of letting homeowners, landscapers, and excavators know you should always call 811 before you dig.
Call 811.
Call for both small and big jobs. And 2 working days in advance?
811.
Any parting words? And I'm guessing they will be.
Call 811 before you dig.
Brought to you by Southwest Gas.
811.
If you know, you go. At Superstar Car Wash, we're proud to have over 550,000 members. Be in the know and try what everyone loves today. Text SuperAZ to 27800 to get 50% off our best wash. Terms and conditions apply.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix. It's the lunch break.
The seesaw nature of the 2025 Diamondback season unfortunately continued over the weekend. Welcome in to the Monday edition of the lunch break right here on KDUS AM 1060. Streaming always on the KDUS AM 1060 app, and you can watch the program over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream. Chris Schubert with you for the next 2 hours here as we get your week started. Producer Evan, he is behind the glass taking your phone calls, 480-864-1060. That is the way you can get in contact with the show today. And we start with a baseball team that had to deal with some weather, had to deal with some disappointing starting pitching, an offense that sort of went missing in a ballpark where you expect offense. It was another bad weekend for the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Time for our top story of the day. It's the Daily Special.
We thought last weekend was a bad weekend for the Diamondbacks, capped off with Corbin Burnes leaving with the injury that we now know will require Tommy John surgery. We'll get to that news here at about 10 minutes from now. But after sweeping the Atlanta Braves this week, or last week, I should say, the vibes were different around this baseball team. How could they not be? You beat Spencer Strider in the first game of the series. You have a pitcher's duel between Merrill Kelly and Chris Sale in the second game, and you win the pitcher's duel. Diamondbacks winning a pitcher's duel in 2025? It's exactly what they did. And then you had the cherry on top of the cake. You had the win in the final game of the series. You had the comeback in the ninth inning when you were trailing 10-4, scoring 7 runs in the ninth inning to take the lead and to win that game to finish off the series sweep of the Atlanta Braves, a team that you are directly competing with in the National League wildcard race right now. The vibes were as high as they have been in a long time. We spent last week discussing what this team needed to do the rest of June, the opportunities that presented themselves to this team in the month of June, the series with teams with records below 500, including this 3-game set with Cincinnati over the weekend, and the seesaw nature of this team, of this season, reared its ugly head once again over the weekend, because all the good vibes that you had, all the excitement that you had coming out of a series where you went on the road and swept the Atlanta Braves, you undid it all in one weekend. In one weekend, you undid all of the good that you did in Atlanta. And you got hit with blow after blow after blow over the weekend. First, it was Friday with Corbin Burnes going down with the Tommy John surgery. Then it was Gabriel Moreno getting hurt. Then it was getting swept in the series. Ryan Nelson not looking good starting. Zach Gallen cruising until he wasn't and falling in the last game of this series. Just, it went about as poorly as it could after going about as great as it could the week before. And the seesaw nature of this team, of this season, continues to exist. We questioned on Friday if that series against Atlanta could be a launching point. Could it be the confidence builder that this team needed? The short answer is no. It was not the launching point. It was not the confidence builder that we thought it was in real time. I mean, I thought after you complete the sweep, scoring 7 runs in the 9th inning, man, it doesn't get any better than that for this team. This is exactly what they needed. It's going to get the pitching staff confident, the bullpen locking down leads. Justin Martinez had a great save, working himself out of trouble in that series against Atlanta. The confidence was going to build and build and build and build and build. It couldn't build anywhere. It didn't build at all, because it was immediately undone over the weekend. And you're wondering and you're asking the same question. You're asking if this team has the pitching. Does this team have the starting staff to keep their season afloat? And you're asking the question even more so today because of the news we learned on Friday with Corbin Burnes. And so, well, you get that news on Friday. We'll dive into it a little bit more here in about 10 minutes. But you get that news on Friday, and it's a gut punch. You're feeling it. You're wondering how the rest of the season is going to play out. But you're hoping that the Diamondbacks can make you not forget about that news, but make you feel a little bit better about that news. Make you feel like, yes, this is a huge blow, but they are going to rally from it. They're going to carry the momentum from Atlanta into Cincinnati and face a team that's below 500, that's behind them in the standings, in a ballpark where they should be able to score a ton of runs. And that we were going to come in here on Monday talking about a team that had won 5 of their last 6, that won another series in Cincinnati. And yeah, Corbin Burnes lost for the season and most of next year with Tommy John surgery. That's a huge blow. You're worried about it. But you know what? You just keep stacking series wins. But unfortunately, you didn't get to do that today. You didn't get to have that moment on a Monday. And instead, here we are asking the same questions on the bingo card. Are they going to have enough pitching? How are they going to replace Corbin Burnes? Eduardo Rodriguez, I don't think looked that bad over the weekend. But you found a way to lose all 3 games. And so you just let all of the air out of the balloon immediately. We didn't even get a chance to really celebrate what happened in Atlanta because immediately we're back to the other end of the coin, the other end of the spectrum. I normally gauge how the open of the show is going to go based on the way producer Evan walks into the morning meeting. That's normally the energy level, the vibes that we're going to match in the open. And he just walked into my office. We briefly chatted over the weekend. But he just gave me a look, and he didn't even need to say any words. I knew based on the look, it was a look of, how are we back to this point so soon? How are we right back to having the same conversation? How are we back to them undoing all of the good work that they did in Atlanta? Because when you have a series like the one you had in Atlanta, and you have a series like the one you had in Cincinnati over the weekend, you know what that adds up to be? You're a 500 baseball team. Some days you're going to look great. Some days you're going to look exactly like the team you are supposed to be. Exactly the team you are supposed to be in the preseason. And then there are series where you look like everybody's worst fears about you as a baseball team. And that is what the Diamondbacks have done to a T so far this season. 480-864-1060 is the phone number for you to join us. And I knew that today would be the type of day where somebody would be coming out hot. I just had a feeling after getting swept in Cincinnati, somebody would be fired up. So we got Jamie, who's calling into the program, wants to talk about, I believe, the text message that producer Evan sent me to tell me about this. It's about we're trading people today. See, I knew this was going to happen. I knew on a Monday, this stuff after getting swept by Cincinnati, people would be upset. Jamie, what's on your mind today?
Well, hey, Chris, it's been a long time since both of our voices graced the KDUS airwaves.
Yep.
But look, you got swept over the weekend. You're 6 games back. Cincinnati jumped you. You're still looking up at Milwaukee, still looking up at St. Louis. I'm calling you as a Yankees fan, who didn't have the greatest weekend, by the way, over there against Boston. But I'm talking about trade candidates because you mentioned last week, if the bad news came out to be the worst case scenario for Corbin Burnes, which is Tommy John surgery, D-backs might be done. Since then, swept over the weekend. So I'm looking at guys like Eugenio Suarez, Shelby Miller, Zach Gallen as 3 potential options for a team like the Yankees. I want to know from your perspective, who do you see on the block? And not necessarily team specific, but what type of return would you be looking for if you're the Diamondbacks for some of these veteran players? Because they keep digging themselves this hole. We have all-star voting now. There's 3 teams between them and the bottom of the wild card spot. They're now 3 games below 500. I think we got to talk about them as being sellers.
Appreciate the call, Jamie. And it's a fair question to ask. And just to pull the curtain back a little bit, Jamie's a very good friend. He's a longtime listener of the program, and he and I go way back. So I appreciate him starting the program here on a Monday. The Diamondbacks, we have always said, let's see what this looks like at the end of June. Let's see where they are in the standings at the end of June. And the reason why I've always positioned that as the place I wanted to get to is I don't know how many teams on the buyer side of this coin are going to be eager to get out in front and set the market. Some teams will. Some teams will want to beat the prices. Some teams will be afraid that if they're not setting the market, that they may have to overpay what they're comfortable with. So somebody's going to dive into the deep end of the pool first. I just don't know who it's going to be. But you mentioned a bunch of candidates there, Jamie, and all of them make sense. Eugenio Suarez, free agent at the end of the season. Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, both free agents at the end of the year. Josh Naylor, their first baseman, free agent at the end of the year. Shelby Miller, relief, bullpen options, always where you attempt to trade from here in the offseason. I've pushed against this so many times on the program, probably to the chagrin of producer Evan, because he has wanted to have this conversation a bunch. He has wanted us to dive right into who are they trading, where are they trading them to, who are they going to get back. I've had to just push against having this full-blown conversation because I'm not there yet. I'm not ready to have that conversation. And maybe that makes me not willing to look at the reality of the situation, but it's June 9th today. This team is just one solid run away from us having that conversation. And they can go on that run. It's just a question of, will they go on that run? And all I'm willing to give them now at this point is through the month of June. If by the end of this month, they can't show me the ability to go on that run, if they can't go on that run, then yeah, let's talk about trading Zach Gallen. Yeah, let's talk about trading Merrill Kelly, Eugenio Suarez, Shelby Miller, Josh Naylor, any of the other free agents that they have at the end of the year. They have a glut of outfielders with Alec Thomas and Jake McCarthy sitting down there in Reno. Do they move one of those guys? I am fully ready to embrace that conversation when I feel like I've exhausted the entire runway for this team to show me that they can go on that run, because it is not that far ago. It is last year where this team got hot in the second half and went on a run to put themselves into a playoff conversation. So I have that front of mind. I have that right in front of me to say, I don't want to give up now on June 9th, because truthfully, how many teams are really calling right now? Is the Yankees, the Mets, the Cubs, the Tigers. I'm trying to think of teams that are just playing well right now. The Royals, the Mariners. These teams that are playing well, the Astros, these teams that are playing well in a playoff race, probably looking to buy at the deadline. Are they looking to buy right now? Are they looking to make a move right this second? I don't think they're ready to do something for at least the next 2 weeks. You always have a team that sets the mark early. June 9th feels kind of early.
June 9th is very early. Very early. I don't expect them, even if they are sellers, to make a deal before the start of July. Before, I would say post All-Star break. I don't think they're going to make a move before the All-Star break unless things get, if they lose 10 in a row,
right. Then it's over.
It's over.
Right. That would speed up my timeline. They've lost 3 in a row now after getting swept by Cincinnati. If that continues, and we're talking about an 8-9 game losing streak, let's go. It's time to have a sell conversation. You're not getting Corbin Burnes back this year. Clearly, you're not getting the pitching that you need, and you've got to try to set yourself up better for 2026 and beyond.
But I asked those who, and listen, I'm a deadline guy. I think the deadline of baseball is the best time, arguably, in the season. It's so fun. Baseball does the deadline correctly.
It is a blast. It is a frenzy there in those final couple of days.
But if you're Mike Hazen, sit in his shoes for a little bit. You made a run last year to put yourself within a tiebreaker of making the playoffs after what was a pretty bad start.
Yeah.
Go back to 23. You didn't have a great start. You go to the World Series. I mean, sit in his shoes for a second and say, okay, let's take a big picture look. It's not about where you're at now. It's about where you're at in July. Where do we fall? Can we make a run? And for him, he's always going to think they're one run away because they are.
And that's why you have to pick a point. You have to pick a moment on the calendar and say, okay, if I don't get the run by X date, then I have to pivot and change plans. And I have been very consistent on this. The end of June has always been my line of demarcation. You don't show me something by this date, we got to start selling players. We got to start trading guys. We have to start recouping some value so that 2026 isn't also a barren wasteland, because you're going to lose Zach Allen in free agency. You're going to lose Merrill Kelly in free agency. Josh Naylor is going to be playing someplace else. Corbin Burnes is not going to save your rotation in 2026 either. You are going to have a worse roster on paper than you did this season. You're probably changing managers at the end of the season, because the more we see series like we did against Cincinnati, and the more this team just hovers around 500 and they don't go on that run, the more they prove a point that some Diamondbacks fans have long said since 2023, that run was a fluke. That roster wasn't actually a World Series championship roster, that they just got hot at the right time. And by going on that run, it allowed them to put blinders on and not see the actual problems with this roster. And that led to them spending more in 24. That led them to spending more this season. And instead, they thought they had a core that could win a championship when they really didn't. They just got hot and lucky at the right time. Now, I don't think that. I think there's talent all over this roster. They're just not executing right now. It is super inconsistent. And if that inconsistency continues over the next couple of weeks, starting a 3-game series tonight with Seattle, if you don't show me something, and I know it's just show me something. Give me something to buy into. I thought you gave me something last week in Atlanta. I thought that was the turning point. Clearly, it was not. John over on YouTube says 6 games out of the last wild card, maybe if 10 or more at the All-Star break, fire sale. You get to double digits out of a wild card spot in whatever league, American League or National League, you're not making up that ground, but especially in the National League. You're not making up ground over those teams in front of you. You're just not. 10 games is a lot to make up. And why would I believe that you could make up 10 games when you've played poorly enough to dig yourself into that hole? And you're not getting any healthier. You're losing guys left and right now. So a super disappointing weekend, and it was just all of the calling cards that have plagued this team this season. Pitching.
I want to touch on this in the YouTube chat. You touched on John in the YouTube chat. Are you seeing this?
On Friday, we left wondering whether or not he was a Reds fan, right? He's a Giants fan. So just think about this. We are collecting a fan base, the P1s of the program. We've got Paul, who's a Dodgers fan, who, by the way, emailed me today about the horse racing over the weekend.
Who won?
Sovereignty won.
Oh.
Sovereignty beat journalism. It's unfortunate. That's my pick, journalism. So we got Paul, who's a Dodgers fan. We've got John, who's a Giants fan. We've got a Yankees fan who called in today on the show. I mean, we are collecting the wrong group of fans here. I love all of our P1s, but we
got some big market fans in the chat.
I mean, Michael's our guy. Michael is our diehard Phoenix sports guy who's just in there with us.
And Michael's gonna love this next segment because Michael's a Suns guy through and through.
No, 2 segments from now. Don't put the cart in front of the horse. We got another Diamondback segment next. Please don't put the cart in front of the horse. We're talking about Kevin Durant in a little bit. I know Michael's gonna love that. 480-864-1060 is the phone number for you to join us here today on the program. You can also join us over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream. When we come back, was the unfortunate news of Friday, Corbin Burnes electing to undergo Tommy John surgery. That will happen this week. What does it mean for the rest of 2025 and beyond? That's next, the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
Hey, listeners, Vince DeLisio from the Varsity Sports Show. Tune in Saturday morning. It's our Father's Day special. Our team will talk about their dads. Plus, we'll feature local coaches. And we launch our new segment spotlighting how our favorite high school administrators are spending their summer vacation. This week, we're joined by Mesa High AD David Klecken. Start your weekend off with a smile with the Varsity Sports Show. Saturday morning from 9 to 11 on AM 1060 KDUS Arizona.
These lawyers say they treat clients like family while secretly putting mandatory settlement quotas on their lawyers.
We never set settlement quotas. We measure success by achieving each client's best outcome.
Do your research. Call the husband and wife law team first.
Jaw-dropping stunts, high-flying tricks, heart-pounding excitement. Nitro Circus is back. The all-new off-the-rails tour. Gravity-defying thrill seekers and world-class daredevils at the top of their game. FMX, BMX, skate, scooter, and everything in between. Experience all new competitions that pit the best against the best in never-been-done showdowns. Nitro Circus, Friday, December 5th. Desert Diamond Arena. Join the action at Ticketmaster.com.
When my wife and I got married after both graduating law school, we didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. Ultima had to give me her gas card just to drive home. We never could have imagined that one day we would have the largest injury firm in the world and $25 billion in money collected and counting. As good Catholics, we had 4 children fast. They all work in the firm today. Our family protecting yours. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, but our greatest gift was years away, grandchildren. Today we have 6 and counting. It's the greatest joy that we have ever experienced. I think about them all day long. Our family promises to protect your family should you need us. Call us. It's easy. Visit forthepeople.com and make sure you hug your grandchildren. God's final gift to us. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
The Kia Summer Sticker Sales Event is going on now at Mark Kia in Scottsdale.
Right now, you can receive up to $500 bonus cash on some of our most popular models.
The name to remember, Mark Kia. Mark Kia. Go to markkia.com for full details.
Jim, I'm here with your Run Report. Game 1 of the NBA Finals was Thursday. That's a fact. Here's another. If you missed it because it was, quote, too small market for you, you are a lame, because that is a lame take. I'll give you an even lamer take now. The Tyrese Haliburton is the most overrated player in the NBA. That's actually the worst take in league history. No, wait. Here's one that's even worse than that. That his fellow players were the ones that hung that on him. After seeing him stab somebody else in the heart yet again Thursday, if anything, this dude is the most underrated player in the league. And now would be a pretty good time to stop with this nonsense about the Pacers fluking or lucking their way to the NBA Finals, as if that were even possible. I'm not saying they're going to win the series. I am saying put some freaking respect on them. And I am saying you're going to have to kill them to beat them, because these guys will never, ever tap on their own. Market 25 versus Market 47. Epic. I'm Jim Rome.
O'Reilly. Check engine, ABS, or maintenance light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. The service is free and provides a report with solutions verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we could recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alessio is your hub for everything high school and college sports. Join Vince and friends as they give you the full picture on student athletes and where they're heading. Live interviews with coaches across the valley.
Asking some of the tough questions.
Varsity recaps and in-depth interviews with tomorrow's sports stars. The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alessio. Live every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Back here on the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060. Chris Schubert with you. Thanks for joining us here on a Monday. It was, as has become accustomed to us here on the program, it's right after we get done at all the major news breaks. We learned that Corbin Burnes on Friday was recommended that he undergo Tommy John surgery, and he is elected to undergo that Tommy John surgery. And I'll use this as a cheap plug for the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube channel, because producer Evan and I hopped on and put together a breaking news video over there. So if you want our instant raw thoughts, maybe 5 minutes after the news broke on Friday, you can go and listen to that over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream. But this is our first chance here on the radio program to discuss that news. And when you get hit with news like that the ace of your team, the guy that you spent $210 million on, that was the centerpiece of your entire offseason, in every decision that the Diamondbacks made, kind of funneled through this idea of, we're building a really solid rotation. We're building one of the best rotations in baseball. We get the top free agent pitcher to join us as just the cherry on top to what we have been building over the last couple of seasons. When you get hit with news like that, so many questions can race to your mind. What does it mean for this year? What does it mean for next year? What does it mean for Zach Allen's future? What does it mean for Merrill Kelly's future? What does it mean for this core, this iteration of the Phoenix Suns? Does this mean they're going to be able to save the season? Is it going to lead to jobs being lost? Is it going to lead to a new core being built? Just a lot of different questions that race to the front of your mind. The one I want to focus on right now, the one that I think comes first in this list, is what does it mean for this season? Because Corbin Burnes going to miss the remainder of this year. More than likely, going to miss a ton of next season as well, if not the entirety of 2026. So what does it mean for this season? Well, it means the Diamondbacks are turning to a rotation of guys that were a part of their team in 2023 when they went to the World Series. They had Zach Allen, they had Merrill Kelly, they had Ryan Nelson, they had Brandon Pfaadt. Those four guys were all here in the second half of 2023 and in the postseason when this team made their run to take on the Texas Rangers in the World Series. Then they added Eduardo Rodriguez after that for 2024. So they are operating with a group that is the same group that they had when they made a run in 2023. The problem is none of those guys, maybe outside of one, are pitching like the guys we saw in 2023. Zach Allen this year has not looked like the 2023 version of himself. Ryan Nelson did not look like the 2024 or even the guy we saw at the start of this year version of himself. Merrill Kelly has been the one guy that has looked very much like the version we've seen over the last couple of years. He is just playing to the back of his baseball card. But Zach Allen is not. Brandon Pfaadt is not. Ryan Nelson, at least over the weekend, was not. And so, yes, you can definitively say that the rotation that went to the World Series for the Diamondbacks, 4 of those guys are still here right now. I cannot argue with that. They're not pitching like those guys in 2023. So what it means for 2025, now that this team has lost Corbin Burnes, is these guys got to step up. These guys have to pitch like the guys they were in 2023, because if they do, then this team does have strong enough starting pitching for them to be able to make a run, to check the box of getting to the end of June and showing us something, right? That's what we're asking for the rest of June. Show us something. Show us that you can be the group that you were in 23. Show us that this group is worth investing into, because one of the places I went to on Friday, you don't have Corbin Burnes for this year. You don't have Corbin Burnes for next year. You also potentially don't have Zach Allen next year. You potentially don't have Merrill Kelly for next year. So you may be down 3 of the 5 starters that you had on paper to start this season. And so here is one of the worst case scenarios that ran through my head. Is this your last chance with this core? Is this your last chance in this window? Because if you don't make a run here in 25, are you going to have to strip this thing down and kind of rebuild it? That's my fear, is that this is really last chance saloon for this core for this window. Because now you're then talking about 2027 before you're going to have Corbin Burnes back, and who knows what he'll look like in 2027. You'll have an entire rotation that you'll need to rebuild. You may need a new first baseman. Who knows what this roster looks like in 2027? Because the payroll is going to have to come down if after 2 years you miss the playoffs. So that's the worst case scenario that went through my head yesterday.
I mean, we talked about
or on Friday, I should say.
We talked about it last segment. Why are people jumping at the bit to trade people? Why are people, hey, pump the brakes on the deadline? All of that has to do because this season feels like it could be their last chance with this core.
And the flip side to that is if they go on a great run here in the end of June and they're in position where they're closer than 6 games out of a wild card spot, yes, you couldn't see it on the YouTube. You can't see it if you're listening to us on the radio. But producer Evan made the motion of pushing the chips into the middle because you're going to lose all of these guys at the end of the year. You're not going to have Corbin Burnes to take some of the heat off of losing Zach Allen and Merrill Kelly. You're going to lose Josh Naylor. You're going to lose Eugenio Suarez and then be starting a young player in Jordan Lawler. I think I'm allowed to do this. In his place. So you may, if you go on a run, push those chips into the middle and trade some prospects to try to prop up one more championship run. Now, you may think that's a bad idea. You may think that's mortgaging the future. Might be fair. But that's why June is so important. It is going to dictate whether or not this team pushes those chips further into the middle and tries one last hurrah, or if it goes south, it is going to be a fire sale like we have not seen in this town with this team in a long time.
In the morning meeting, we saw a tweet, and you and I talked about it. If Corbin Burnes, Corbin Burnes is out. If they don't re-sign Merrill Kelly, if they don't re-sign Zach Allen, who starts opening day next year?
Yeah, Jack Summers, who covers the Diamondbacks for SI, posted this poll question, and I was so fascinated by it that you don't have Corbin Burnes next year. You don't have Zach Allen, potentially, and you don't have Merrill Kelly, potentially. Who's your opening day starter? And when you frame it that way, that just puts all the pressure on 2025. This team on paper is not going to be as good in 2026 as they are right now in 2025. Put their record to the side, put their performance aside. On paper, the talent level that they have will diminish in 2026 compared to the group that they have right now. And so when looking at what this does, the Corbin Burnes' injury to the rest of this year, it puts a whole heap of pressure on this rotation and this team to put themselves in either a position to push the chips all the way in and give it one more run, or if they do not play well the rest of this month, it is going to be a full-blown fire sale. And we will start discussing sooner rather than later rumors of teams interested in Eugenio Suarez, teams interested in Zach Allen, teams interested in Merrill Kelly, teams interested in Shelby Miller, teams calling about Justin Martinez just to see. You know that stuff happens if this starts to slide. 480-864-1060 is the phone number, or you can join us over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream. When we come back, we know that their next task up is to trade Kevin Durant. Is he just going to be a rental for whoever trades for him? That's next, the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
James Out West, your home for sports down here in the desert. Join James and Pat the Stat Guy as they recap the weekend and dive deep into the numbers for the NFL, NBA, college sports, and more.
That's 5 seasons of 1,200 yards.
Players, stats, team numbers, and contracts are just the start of the discussion for James and Pat.
He started 815 career games. He threw 749 complete games.
There's no hiding when it comes to stats. It's James Out West every Monday night from 6 to 7 p.m. right here on KTUS AM 1060 and on the KTUS 1060 app.
Watching Clorox cleanup spray dissolve tough grime in the shower feels like...
Wait, this really just happened? I'm shocked. Underwear and everything?
It feels like being able to zip up your overpacked suitcase on the first try.
Smooth.
With Clorox, clean feels satisfying. Clean feels good. Use as directed.
Hosier presents the Unreal Unearthed Tour 2025 live in Phoenix. Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater, October 2nd. With special guest and get tickets now at livenation.com. The #1 album, Unreal Unearthed, is available everywhere. For more, visit Hosier.com.
Hi, I'm Miko, the founder of Miko's Hot Chicken. When we started our family restaurant, we were also raising a family. But let me tell you, it wasn't easy. Our Chase card was there to reward us on all of our business needs. Now we have a thriving location, and we're hungry for more.
Chase Inc. Business Unlimited card. You can earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for Business. Make more with yours. Real business owners compensated for participation. Cards issued by JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
Spend a day at Chase Field with Dad and get them the Father's Day polo shirt. Only the first 15,000 fans in attendance will receive one. You have to beat everybody else there. What are the rules here, Producer Evan? What do we always say? We don't have the polo shirt for you. You've got to beat all the dads there.
Listen, you just got to get in there early.
Just get there early. It's simple. We've got your tickets. Get there early.
14,999 dads in there. Guess what?
fine.
You're getting a shirt.
Well, yeah, if you're the first dad there, yes, you're going to get the shirt. You just need to.
Yeah, if you.
You just need to be dad 14,000. No, you can be dad 15,000.
Yeah.
You just can't be dad 15,001.
And then you're screwed.
Yeah. Then you know what? It's not a great Father's Day. So
it's a nice shirt too.
If you get the tickets, if you win the tickets with us, or you get your tickets over at dbacks.com/SGT, do me a favor. Get there early so you can get the Father's Day polo shirt. It's easy. It's simple. Welcome back into the program. Appreciate you joining us. And by the way, for those tickets, you got to be listening on the app, KDUS AM 1060 app. Make sure you're registered and logged in while you are listening. I believe we're going to pull the winner for those tickets on Wednesday or Thursday. So a couple more days for you to get in here before we pick that winner. The Suns are on to the summer of Durant and deciding where they are going to trade Kevin Durant and what they want to get back in exchange for Kevin Durant. And over the weekend, I saw a comment from Mark Stein, who's been so good at reporting on all of this. And his reporting on where things stand with Kevin Durant and the trade pursuits of the Phoenix Suns, pretty interesting. Here is what he had to say about a Kevin Durant trade. Quote, in speaking with various teams, Kevin Durant's departure via trade in the coming weeks is frequently described as an inevitability. Yet, there is also no shortage of cautious prognostication in circulation about the sort of package Phoenix can get back for Durant compared to what it surrendered to acquire him in February 2023, end quote. Then he goes on to talk about how there are teams that are approaching this as a one-year rental. Quote, the risk of approaching it as a one-year rental as Durant enters the final season of his current contract at $54.7 million is theoretically offset by the idea that the trade outlay required to get him would be much less daunting than it was for the Suns. End quote. So now Mark Stein is reporting that it does not mean that any Kevin Durant trade is going to come with the extension that originally the Suns were going to offer him, that originally Golden State was going to want him to sign, or any team that traded for him at the deadline was going to sign. That there are teams out there that are looking at this as a simple rental for a 36-year-old player who has 1 year and $54.7 million left on his deal. And that would spell terrible news for the Phoenix Suns. If teams are only looking at this as a one-year rental, meaning they are giving it one go, they are not going to give up a ton to land Kevin Durant. We have said an ideal trade package would be one young piece that you can insert into your starting lineup right now, a player that has some long-term potential, and a couple of draft picks. We've said that 2 draft picks made a ton of sense to us. We felt like that was a nice package. If you were trading for Kevin Durant, you were extending him, so you were getting him for 3 seasons. That felt like doable for the Phoenix Suns. Felt like they could accomplish that. If you are trading Kevin Durant as a one-year rental, you're not getting multiple draft picks. You're not getting multiple players. You may be lucky to get 1 player and 1 pick for a rental of Kevin Durant, because now he's just a 36-year-old player. He's a 36-year-old mercenary that you're paying a ton of salary for 1 season.
Did you see this Bill Simmons quote?
No, I didn't. Go ahead.
Do you want it?
Sure, I'm afraid, but go ahead.
Bill Simmons thinks a Kevin Durant trade to San Antonio might already be done, and both teams are just waiting to announce it. I wouldn't be surprised if KD to the Spurs is done already and they just haven't announced it. Basically, they've agreed on specifics. Just announce it the week of the draft. This goes back to the Giannis thing. I think they trade for KD because it costs less. They'll be able to be real competitive and maybe go to a couple rounds in the playoffs, but they're also going to keep the number 2 pick and do it that way.
I like Bill. I think Bill's really smart. I love listening to Bill talk NBA. I think he's wrong on this one. The Suns just hired a new head coach. They just got done conducting a very vast and wide coaching search. You think while all that was going on, they just had a Kevin Durant trade in their back pocket ready to go? I don't think so. I think now their focus is on the summer of Durant and working on this trade. Now, he's not just throwing darts at a dartboard. You shared a story with me this morning that the odds for Kevin Durant's next team according to Fox Sports, listed the Spurs as the favorite at plus 110, have the Rockets right behind them at plus 250, and then the Suns, the Knicks, and the T-Wolves in third at plus 700, meaning that it's Spurs or Rockets, or there's a decent chance that Kevin Durant is back on this team next season. At least that's what the odds tell me.
And what does a package from the Spurs look like? Is that Devin Vassell?
They have 2 first-round picks.
Maybe the second, was that 18
I
they
think
pick
it's
it?
14 they pick at. They pick it 2 and 14. You're not getting 2. They're not
They're
trading
not
2
gonna
for
give you
Kevin
2.
Durant, especially if it's just for a rental. They're not trading 2.
But maybe it's 14 and one of their younger guys, younger, but one of their other guys and Vassell.
Would you do that if you were San Antonio for a 1-year rental of Kevin Durant? You would give up a first-round pick and a young player?
I wouldn't. But I'm trying to look at it as they're going to look at, what is their window? What do they think it is?
Now, there is an argument to be made where San Antonio can look at this and say, okay, maybe Giannis doesn't want to move right now, but maybe he'll move next year. And so we can try it 1 year with Durant, see how it goes. And if it doesn't work out, if we don't reach the heights that we want to reach to, we have an easy escape pod. And it costs us a first-round pick. Yeah, it cost us the 14th overall pick this year, but we couldn't trade that for Giannis anyway. They're not moving him. He doesn't really want to be moved. And we gave up a young player. Okay, so be it. We're going to get a really good player at number 2, which is going to give us the ability to be down this hole again next year and discuss a Giannis trade if Giannis does shake loose.
A 1-year rental for them almost feels like it makes more sense than any other team because of where they sit.
Houston, it could make sense. That, to me, is where their appetite for trading for Kevin Durant might make more sense because it's a 1-year rental, and so they don't have to give up a ton. They can still keep a lot of their young core in place. But if it's a 1-year rental, you're just not getting as much, and I don't care how many teams are involved. If it's a 1-year rental, you're just not getting as much as you would if he was signing the extension and then you were trading him with 3 years left on his deal.
From San Antonio's perspective, isn't it try to win before you have to give out the max?
Yeah.
Right? And for no other reason than I'm looking at it from a quarterback, like win with a quarterback on a rookie deal.
Well,
that's the age-old question.
Look at Boston. Boston paid all those guys. They won a title. Now they lost Jason Tatum for next season with the Achilles, and they're going to have to break it down. They're not going to be a second apron team. They're not going to spend all that luxury tax money when they know they can't compete because they don't have Jason Tatum. So you got to win when your finances make sense. Because you reach a point where you become the Phoenix Suns. You're spending all this money and you don't win. Where did it get you? Put you in a really bad spot. 480-864-1060 is the phone number for you to join us here today on the program. When we come back, a little buy or sell. I'm assuming some Corbin Burnes related stuff. I'm assuming more on the Phoenix Suns. We've got a lot to dive into with them in hour number 2 of the program. So buy or sell when we come back to close up hour number 1 here on the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
Ready to tackle each morning with the best sports information coming at you?
I'm going to take a logical approach.
Get that weekday mornings on KDUS AM 1060 from 6 to 9 a.m. with the Dan Patrick Show. Dan Patrick, the Danettes, sports icons, sports legends, celebrities, poll questions. The Dan Patrick Show has it all.
It's a crapshoot.
Be sure to lock your dials to AM 1060 or 100.7 HD2 from 6 to 9 a.m. Mornings just got better.
This story is about us.
As the old saying goes, size matters.
At Morgan & Morgan, we have over 1,000 lawyers and nearly 6,000 people on staff.
But at the core, this is and always has been a family business.
Our family watching out for your family.
Call us or email us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even on a Saturday or a Sunday.
And if you ever have a problem, call our mom.
Morgan & Morgan.
For the people and your family.
Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Pierce the Veil. I Can't Hear You World Tour 2025. Pierce the Veil. Live in concert in Phoenix. With Sleeping with Sirens and Beach Weather. Live at Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater, June 15th. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Part of the America First Credit Union Concert Series.
Friends, it's Pat. I finally did it. Sometimes you just need to get off the grid and get some time to think, like way off. So I hopped into my all-new 2025 4Runner with available iForce Max engine and took off, which is me, the 4Runner and good old Mother Nature. Unfortunately, that's when I realized it was also Taco Tuesday. So I ended up coming back that night. I mean, priorities, right?
Right now, get low 2.99% financing for 72 months on the new 2025 Tundra. Or get 4.75% for 60 months on any new Tacoma. Plus, check out the all-new 6th generation 4Runner, now at your Valley Toyota dealer. Shop anytime at valleytoyotadealers.com. Toyota, let's go places. 2.99% with $15.19 per thousand borrowed for 72 months. 4.75 with $18.76 per thousand borrowed for 60 months. Offers end 6/30/25. See dealer for details.
Join in on the Sports Zoo on your ride home from work with Dave Rooster Bierstein. Join Rooster as he lays down what's happening around sports and makes it clear what's on his mind. Oh my. Catch the day's craziest stories and some of the latest numbers from the sports books across the valley. The Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Bierstein.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a wild option.
Weekdays 5 to 6 p.m. on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Back here on the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060. That was a fun last segment, troubleshooting the issues with the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream while trying to talk about Kevin Durant. I was multitasking there.
All in all, pretty smooth.
And there was a moment where the stream was up on my phone and you could hear me. I could hear me twice. I was very confused for a second, but we did okay. We did all right. It's a Monday. See, everyone's kind of sluggish on a Monday.
First day back.
Right.
This weekend didn't go great.
Right. So I'm not surprised that we hit a little bit of a bump here. But it's time for buy or sell here to close up hour number one of the program. Producer Evan has the topics, 5 of them usually, and I buy or sell the statement. Normally in the process, I forget the statement, but go ahead, my friend.
The Corbin Burnes injury will go down as one of the largest and most disappointing in Diamondbacks history.
Corbin Burnes, yeah, buy. I mean, it's a huge blow to a team that needs him. I mean, he's the ace. They paid him $210 million. He is there. He was brought in to be the extra piece on top that made this rotation deeper, made it one of the best, and allowed them to go toe-to-toe with the who's who in the National League West. Everybody, the Giants, the Padres, the Dodgers. And he was pitching great before getting hurt, but they're just not going to live up to that billing. I mean, division's out right now. We're barely holding on to them being able to close the gap 6 games out of a playoff spot in the wild card right now. So, yeah, just massively disappointing. Bye.
By the way, John, I mean, just another dig at me on the
I mean,
hang-up.
he loves nothing more than trolling you. And by bringing it up the way that you did, you're just going to continue it. You want him to stop, you just got to ignore him. You can't let John get under your skin. But you do. You let him get under your skin. And so he's just going to keep poking at you.
And so some would say I'm making the situation worse.
Some might say you're making the situation
worse. And so that leads me into number 2, where we have a little bit of sound.
Okay.
It's the worst situation in the history of the NBA. And
oh my God. He just comes off the top on that one.
It's not the first time I've said it.
I know.
It's the worst situation in the history of the NBA. And none of this is a sign that's getting any better.
Just to clarify that, the worst situation, like from a front office management
from a franchise, where the franchise sits right now. They have no control over their jobs for the next several years. They're in cap hell. They have Bradley Beal, who they cannot trade because he has a no-trade clause. They have no draft picks to improve the team. And they have an aging Kevin Durant who they now have annoyed with the way they handled things in the spring.
And who only has 1 year left on his contract, so he's going to have a lot of say on where he goes or where he doesn't, which deflates his value.
There is not a path out of this anytime soon, that, in my opinion, that doesn't involve a lot of pain.
So I ask you,
am I buying or selling that audio?
Is this the worst situation for an offseason in NBA history?
I mean, it's a terrible spot to be in as a franchise. They pushed all of their chips into the middle. I mean, they went overboard trading for Kevin Durant, trading for Bradley Beal, changing coaches as much as they did, all in the pursuit of winning a championship. And now they have to untangle that ball of yarn. It's going to be messy. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be painful because they don't have a lot of ways out. They have one. It's trading Kevin Durant. We just told you in the last segment, they might not be able to get as much as they need to be able to dig themselves out of this mess. It's going to be painful. So, yeah, I buy that this is a terrible situation, one of the worst right now in the NBA, and it was all self-inflicted. All self-inflicted.
Corbin Carroll's recent struggles might be a reason to be concerned.
Concerned about him or concerned about the team? Because I think everything
Concerned
concerns
about
us.
him.
Because everything concerns us about the team right now. It's just concern across the board.
That's true. There's a lot of things to be
right.
But I was from a Corbin Carroll's perspective.
Specifically, Corbin Carroll's struggles makes me concerned about him.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll buy this. Anytime a player goes through a little rough patch, you just worry how long it's gonna progress. And coming off of the heels of the struggles that he had last year, the start of the 2024 season was better in the second half, and we were all worried about how well he would start 2025. And he did. He started off great. But yeah, I think that first real serious rough patch, you get worried of, is he going to be able to get himself out of this quickly so that we don't rehash the conversations that we had a year ago? My concern long-term, no. But I do think the heels of last year, coming off the heels of what last year was for him, I think the first major slump that we see him go into, yeah, I think we're all a little bit more aware of when he struggles because we're just worried about him going into a prolonged slump.
That's what I was going to say. Had he not had the prolonged slump last year.
It's baseball. He's slumping. He's great. We'll be fine. But it's because of last year that we're all like just watching it a little bit closer.
Moving on to football and the Cardinals. Outside of the division games, the Cardinals' most important game in 2025 will be when they play the Packers at home.
So I can't pick a division game.
Can't pick a division game. Saw a list on Twitter this weekend. Was scrolling through, and I can't remember who posted it, but they had this listed as the most important game of the year, and it really made me kind of take a step back. Packers snuck in as a 7th seed last year. It's going to be an interesting division, so I wanted to ask you this question.
We did this, didn't we? We did this list, and I remember at the time putting the Packers game on the list. And I remember us also having the Bengals game on the list. I don't remember if I had the Packers game in front of the Bengals game. I think I did. The Bengals game, man, at the end of the season, I've just got that one like circled. Like I really do. I don't know what it is about that game. They play the Rams, I think, the next week.
I think it's where it falls to that back end of the schedule gets really tough.
And it's just going to be really important. That game, you just feel like it's going to be important.
We also had the Houston game on that list.
Yeah, that's a tough one. The back half of the schedule is very, very tough.
Shout out to Houston for bringing in Nick Chubb this weekend.
They're bringing him on a visit, right? They haven't officially signed him yet. I'll sell the take.
Okay.
That Bengals game, I don't know what it is about that Bengals game. It just kind of look at it on the calendar and I'm like, man, I feel like we're going to get to that part of the season and that game's going to be really important.
It's the Packers one to me, and maybe it's a little D-back fear here, but just feels like there could be a tiebreaker in there.
Well, yeah, and so that's why you have to look at all. Like they play Tampa at the end of the season. They play Dallas at the end. They play Dallas, don't they? Do they play Dallas on their schedule?
Yeah, but I don't think it's at the end. It's right
it's
after
in the middle.
bye.
It's right after the bye, and it's a Monday night game. If I'm remembering the schedule correctly,
you are correct.
Thank you.
It's a Monday night game.
So those are the games that are non-division games that are going to be important for tiebreakers because beating those teams, if it comes down to it, you'll have the tiebreaker over them for a wild card spot. So that's why the Cincinnati game doesn't really matter as much. But, man, I think this team is going to stack wins early, and then it's going to be a grind to get to the magic number late. And I think the magic number is going to have to be 10. I think 10 is the floor for getting into the playoffs this year in the NFC. I think they're going to really hammer some wins early. They're favored in a ton of their games early. So those late games.
We talked about that early part of the schedule. But so week 7, you have the Packers at home. Then you have the bye.
Yep.
Then you come out week 9, you go to Dallas to play them on a Monday night. That feels like a really important stretch there. You can't lose both if you want to make the playoffs.
No, you can't lose both if you want to make the playoffs. If you want to get to that magic number of 10 and you want to be playing a playoff game this year, those are games that you have to win. Hour number 1 of the program in the books. When we come back, he wants to be more involved. So how involved will he be? It's next on the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, and it's no surprise. Same game parlay from Bet365 just keeps getting better.
Well, it's even easier to make a bet. Choose from the most popular markets like hits, run line, totals, and home runs. So many to choose from.
Download the app, start building your bet, and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Arizona. T&Cs apply.
Prepare for the Maximum Fun Tour. A day to remember. Yellow Card. Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater, Saturday, October 25th. Special guests, The Wonder Years and Dinosaur Pile-Up. Tickets from $30. On sale now at livenation.com. A day to remember. Yellow Card. Part of the American First Credit Union Concert Series.
When my wife and I got married after both graduating law school, we didn't have two nickels to rub together. Ultima had to give me her gas card just to drive home. We never could have imagined that one day we would have the largest injury firm in the world and $25 billion in money collected and counting. As good Catholics, we had 4 children fast. They all work in the firm today. Our family protecting yours. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, but our greatest gift was years away, grandchildren. Today we have 6 and counting. It's the greatest joy that we have ever experienced. I think about them all day long. Our family promises to protect your family should you need us. Call us. It's easy. Visit forthepeople.com and make sure you hug your grandchildren. God's final gift to us. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
A noisy garage door is a cry for help. Hi, I'm Tommy Mello, owner at A1 Garage Door Service. Most repairs are simple, but if left untreated, they can turn into costly repairs. Your garage door works hard every day, and a little maintenance goes a long way. We fix garage doors fast with quality parts designed to last a lifetime. From repairs to upgrades, it's A1 from day one. Call A1 Garage Door Service, and you'll be smiling today.
A1Garage.com, A1 from day one.
Fulton Homes is bringing legendary Fulton quality back to the West Valley. Explore 4 exceptional West Valley locations with more standard features and thousands of ways to personalize your home. Find out why people buy Fulton Homes over and over again. Fulton Homes, you're proud to own, we're proud to build.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
12 o'clock hour of the lunch break here on KDUS AM 1060. Appreciate everybody joining us on a Monday. Hope everybody had a great weekend. You want to get in touch with the program? You want to get hung up on by producer Evan? 480-864-1060 is the phone number. Just shaking your head at me in disappointment.
I mean, I thought you were team me.
I am
team John.
No. Let me make something very clear. I am very much team you. That doesn't mean I'm not going to poke fun at you when everybody else is. I'm going to pile on, but I'm going to have your back.
John's right. When I least expect this, it's going to keep coming back.
Yeah, he's just going to, in the middle of one segment, randomly, when we have like a guest on, he's going to call you just to throw you off. You're going to be like, why are we getting phone calls during a guest? He's really going to get you. And then he's going to be like, Evan didn't pick up the phone this time. So 480-864-1060 if you want to join us here today on the program. As part of Buy or Sell, you had a cut from the Hoop Collective podcast. That is the pod that Brian Windhorst hosts with Tim McMahon and Bontemps also on that pod as well. They cover basketball. It is a great listen. And they had some interesting things to say, and you heard one of the cuts of Bontemps talking about the Phoenix Suns having the worst situation in the history of the sport. But there was another interesting cut from that pod that I wanted to bring to you, and we're talking a lot about Kevin Durant and the trade, the summer of Durant, and what the Suns can get back for KD. But the Hoop Collective was discussing Jordan not being hired as the head coach and really just discussing the situation in Phoenix in general. And we'll have some more cuts on that here in a second. But I want to play this one to start because this is Brian Windhorst talking about how this KD trade is about to go down.
So what it comes down to is this. They're going to try to make a Durant trade probably between now and the draft. What it sounds to me like is that Matt Ishbia will be executing that trade. Now, maybe he was going to do it anyway, but that's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah. So Matt Ishbia is going to oversee this Kevin Durant trade. Now, an owner is always going to be involved in high-level negotiations like this. A owner is always going to be involved when you're dealing with a superstar of this magnitude. Just comes with the territory. You're trading a superstar player. You're trading somebody that, despite how bad the team was last year, generates revenue for the organization. In merchandise sales, endorsement money that comes in, advertising money that comes in because they want to be associated with the Suns who have Kevin Durant. That is a high-level decision. So, of course, Matt Ishbia is going to be involved in the Kevin Durant trade, in the summer of Durant. But listen to what Windy says here, because he doesn't say he's going to be involved.
So what it comes down to is this. They're going to try to make a Durant trade probably between now and the draft. What it sounds to me like is that Matt Ishbia will be executing that trade. Now, maybe he was going to do it anyway, but that's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah. Matt Ishbia is going to be executing that trade. When I hear that, I hear he's going to be talking to the other GMs. I hear that he is going to be discussing what the trade package should be to bring back in a Kevin Durant trade. That sounds like somebody to me who isn't really going to be taking the advice of his newly formed GM. It, you know what? Doesn't really sound to me.
The alignment
doesn't sound very aligned. Sounds like one person just wanting to do everything himself. And this is what everybody's fear was when that memo got leaked last week in the wake of Jordan not getting hired, when Matt Ishbia said that he wants to be more involved. Here is him being more involved, that he's going to be the one that executes the Kevin Durant trade. He is going to be the one that decides on the trade package. There's a difference between being the person in a trade negotiation and being a part of a trade negotiation. There is a difference between those two things. There's a difference between your GM that you've entrusted, your GM that you have hired to oversee these things, coming to you and looping you in when it becomes more serious and saying, hey, this is what's going on. These are the teams that are interested. These are the packages that we're considering. Want to gauge how you feel about this. Is there one of these packages that you're just totally against, or are we good? And most owners will share their opinion, but tell you at the end of the day, you do what you think is in the best interest of the team. Because that's what good managers, that's what good CEOs and good owners do. They trust the people that they've hired. They trust those people to execute on the visions. And they have conversations all the time, and they recalibrate on what the vision is so everybody's on the same page so that Brian Gregory can go out there and execute the wishes and the vision of the owner. That's not what's going to happen here. Sounds like Matt Ishbia is just going to do it all himself. And if you want a national perspective on how everybody thinks about what's going on here in Phoenix, here is Tim McMahon talking a bit of an extension about this conversation about Matt Ishbia.
I just really believe his approach as an owner has been completely misguided and counterproductive, especially under the new CBA. And I'm sorry, his fingerprints were all over the Kevin Durant deal. His
literally the
fingerprints were
first
all
day.
over
6
the
hours.
Bradley Beal deal. He's the one who his push was stars.
That's the national perspective. Questioning what Matt is even talking about when he says that he wasn't involved in the past and that he needs to be more involved moving forward. The argument is you've been involved. To use Tim McMahon's phrase, his fingerprints are all over this. All over Kevin Durant trade, all over the Bradley Beal trade, all over the way they have built this team from the moment he got here. And so Matt Ishbia is going to be more involved, everybody. He's told us that. He's made it clear. He told the rest of the Suns basketball operations staff he is going to be more involved in every decision that this organization makes. So he's going to be involved the way Wendy said he's going to be involved in the Kevin Durant trade. And this is what everybody feared when they hired Brian Gregory.
The alignment.
That alignment wasn't going to be the good thing that we all thought this organization needed. Everybody rowing the boat in the same direction. But that
the alignment
was putting people in place that would just say yes to whatever Matt Ishbia wanted to do and would get out of the way. Here's Tim McMahon on Brian Gregory.
The hiring of Brian Gregory, who might end up being a fantastic general manager, but this is a classic.
By the way, I didn't think Brad Stevens was a slam dunk to be a great executive. I thought Brad Stevens was a great coach. He's turned into a great executive. So I'm not saying Brian Gregory can't be a great executive. But
what is Brian Gregory's primary qualification to be the Phoenix Suns general manager?
His relationship with Matt Ishbia.
He was an assistant coach at Michigan State when Ishbia was a walk-on. He has 11, I guess maybe it's a full year now, of experience in the NBA, none as a decision maker.
He has sort of been around the team for 2 years, I believe.
Okay.
But he's only been a full-time member of the front office for 1 year.
But that hiring was a clear signal that what Ishbia is telling you is the truth. Ishbia feels like he didn't have enough of an impact on things. And I would say, boy, oh boy,
So
I don't think that's the message that Suns fans are going to be comforted by.
No, zero comfort in that message. Zero comfort in the idea that Matt Ishbia is going to have more fingerprints on this roster because his resume does not inspire confidence. And when you go through a major change like the Suns are going through this summer, changing who's in the GM chair, changing who's courtside coaching the team, changing the way the roster is made up, the one thing that you need is the feeling of confidence. Why do you think people talk about winning the press conference? That phrase comes up because you want to win the press conference to give confidence to your fans, to give them a reason to believe in the vision that you are trying to sell them, the vision and the pathway that you are choosing to take. At every beat of this, Matt Ishbia first spoke at the end of the season. Did that give us confidence? Did we feel better about the direction of the Phoenix Suns when Matt Ishbia spoke? Sort of. We liked the words. We liked the message. But what did we say? I'm sure we could pull the tapes. I'm sure we can pull the show from the next day after Matt Ishbia spoke to the media. In fact, I think we can pull the tape because if I remember correctly, that press conference happened while we were on the air and producer Evan was reading me quotes without me seeing them for me to react to.
Yeah, I was on Twitter just surfing and I was just reading you quotes.
And we said at the time, this is great, but actions speak louder than words. So great, you're saying the right things. You're delivering the right message. You're using the right buzzwords. But now your actions have to match that. And then the action right after that was to put somebody in the GM chair who has never been a serious decision maker. And I am not trying to knock Brian Gregory. How many times do I have to say to all of you that I am rooting for Brian Gregory to succeed in this role as the GM of this team? But he doesn't have any serious qualifications. He's never been an executive anywhere. And I'm sorry, you heard it in Tim McMahon's voice. I have the same disdain for saying, oh, well, he was around the organization for the last couple of years. Get out of here with that. That's not the experience that you need. He's not a serious decision maker who's ever had to decide on a trade, who's ever had to decide on who to draft. But you know what? That might not matter because he may not be the person who's deciding on free agents and who to trade for and who to draft because Matt Ishbia is going to be more involved. So then when this happened,
the alignment,
our confidence was lost. Our confidence didn't exist. And then the cherry on top is you hired a head coach who didn't have the qualifications comparatively to everybody else that you were interviewing. And you hired a guy who had a Michigan State tie to complete the trifecta and to give everybody zero confidence in what you're doing moving forward. And then the memo leaked. Of the teams here in town, the Suns are at the bottom of the totem pole in terms of confidence. There's more confidence in Mike Hazen turning things around than Arizona for the Diamondbacks. There's way more confidence in what Monty and JG are building out in Glendale. There's way more confidence down in Tempe with Kenny Dillingham and what they're doing with the football program. The Suns are at the bottom of the list because nobody has confidence in them right now. There is no confidence in what they are trying to build. There's no confidence in the messaging. There's no confidence in the vision. There's no confidence in anything. Your actions are telling a different story than your words. I have one more soundbite from the Hoop Collective podcast. All it is tagged here is the Hoop Collective on the Suns. Let's see what this 21-second cut is all about.
Right. So with this bad situation, whether you want to call it the worst of all time, with this bad situation, they hire an inexperienced general manager. They hire an inexperienced head coach. He's an experienced coach, inexperienced head coach. And the owner says, I got it, boys.
And the owner, the inexperienced owner.
Now he's experienced.
No, he's not. Well, he's got a little bit of experience. It ain't good.
Exactly. The experience that Matt Ishbia does have as the GM or as the owner. See, there was a Freudian slip there. Matt Ishbia, his experience as the owner of the team. Yeah, he does have experience sitting in that chair, but it's not good. He does have experience of taking a team that, while maybe wasn't going to get back to the finals and win a championship, did not need to be overhauled the way that it did. Did not need Kevin Durant to save them. Did not need to trade all those young players and all those draft picks to get Kevin Durant. Team didn't need that. Team didn't need to go out in that summer and trade Chris Paul in a deal to get you Bradley Beal and that no trade clause. Did not need that. Of the three, Jordan Ott, Brian Gregory, and Matt Ishbia. Ishbia has the most experience. That should concern all of us. That the person who has the most experience in their role is the owner who has shown us zero confidence in being able to turn this around. And we have said how important this offseason is. We have said that without turning it around this offseason, it could be a decade of irrelevancy for this team. So sit back, relax, enjoy the ride that Matt Ishbia is going to take us on. Because it's going to be his ride. It's not going to be Brian Gregory's ride. It's not going to be Jordan Ott's ride. This is going to be Matt Ishbia's ride. So hop on board, everybody. 480-864-1060 is the phone number for you to join us here today on the program. We've also got you over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream. Brian from Chandler over on the YouTube says Matt Ishbia is the Jerry Jones of the NBA. He burned all equity and goodwill with that ridiculous Coach Bud hire. Get ready, Suns fans, to wander around aimlessly in the desert for the next several years. I don't know. The only thing I would push back on, Brian, is I don't know what equity Matt Ishbia ever had. He got here as the new owner. And he did all the flashy moves to get everybody on his side. And I've long said this. It's always easy to be that owner. It's always easy to be the owner that throws around the money, that trades for the big superstars, because everyone's going to love you. Where you show whether or not you're a good owner is in these tough times. When you have to make the tough decisions. And so far, those tough times, he has not done well. So I think he burned the equity when he decided to fire Frank Vogel and go to Coach Bud, and then fire Coach Bud, and then now do this again, and then hire a bunch of yes men to be in charge. All of that together is where he burned the equity. I think the equity was burned when they traded for Bradley Beal. I think that's when people went, what are you doing, man? You're trading for a guy that's got all that money, that has got a no trade clause, that plays the same position as Devin Booker. How is this going to work? Dude, this is not fantasy basketball. And you should know that because the Spartan way. Should know how this works. Instead, we get whatever it is that we've gotten here so far. So sit back, relax, enjoy the ride. That's what they say when you get on a flight, right? Sit back, relax, enjoy the smooth flight. We'll try to avoid the rough air. Matt Ishbia is up there flying the plane. I think he's fine in the rough air.
We got a little bit of chop.
I think there's some turbulence coming our way.
We got some chop.
I think there's some turbulence coming our way. When we come back here on the program, a team in the NFL made a somewhat shocking move today. Has the door opened for the Arizona Cardinals? That next on the lunch break. KDUS, AM 1060.
Hey, listeners, Vince DeLisio from the Varsity Sports Show. Tune in Saturday morning. It's our Father's Day special. Our team will talk about their dads. Plus, we'll feature local coaches, and we launch our new segment spotlighting how our favorite high school administrators are spending their summer vacation. This week, we're joined by Mesa High AD David Klecken. Start your weekend off with a smile with the Varsity Sports Show, Saturday morning from 9 to 11 on AM 1060 KDUS, Arizona.
Arizona children enter the foster system every day. If you're a parent, a coach, a teacher, or just someone who cares about young people, then you may be in a position to help. Become a foster parent not only creates a positive ripple effect in a child's life, it can improve our entire community. That's the foster effect. To learn more, go to azdcs.gov/foster effect. That's azdcs.gov/foster effect. This message is brought to you by the Arizona Department of Child Safety.
Nitro Circus is back with the all-new Off the Rails Tour. World-class daredevils and FMX, BMX, skate, scooter, and more. Jaw-dropping stunts, high-flying tricks, and never-been-done showdowns. Friday, December 5th, Desert Diamond Arena. Visit Ticketmaster.com.
Maybe it's time to expect more from college. More opportunities and fewer barriers. Discover Maricopa Community Colleges, the Valley's most accessible higher education provider. With 10 colleges and more than 600 career and degree programs, we're committed to making college work for you. We provide affordable, high-quality educational opportunities that are accessible to everyone. Discover what makes us different at opportunity.maricopa.edu.
Come visit the all-new Wecopa Casino Resort, formerly Fort McDowell Casino. Whether you're visiting for slots, table games, the Valley's favorite bingo hall, golf, or food, our new smoke-free casino resort is the place to be. Enjoy a fine dining experience like no other at Ember, or go for the lively crowd at WKP Sportsbook and Bar. Wecopa offers 2 top 10 golf courses in the state, and the resort with heated pools and cabanas is the perfect place to relax. Come experience Wecopa Casino Resort today. At Wecopa, we have the best of it all.
One study found that half of all clients are unhappy with their lawyer. The number one complaint, a total lack of communication.
That's why we survey our clients and know over 97% are happy. Do your research. Call the husband and wife law team first.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. The Thunder got their footing in Game 2 of the finals, riding a 34-point gem from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Well, SGA star power grabbed the headlines, but it's Oklahoma City's depth that made this team a problem, a real problem. On any given night, it would have been Jalen Williams or Chet Holmgren or a bench piece like Aaron Wiggins or Alex Caruso. Caruso chipped in 20. Wiggins had 18. Isaiah Hartenstein battled and bullied in the paint. It's not a one-man band. It's a team effort. You can game plan for a star. You can blitz a ball screen or shade help, but you can't guard every corner of the chessboard when you have a team with this many pieces. OKC doesn't need perfection from its stars. They need competence from the supporting cast. And more often than not, they get it. The win wasn't just about bouncing back. They're not here by accident. And if the bench keeps showing up the way they did last night, they might not be going anywhere anytime soon. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. Not everyone who handles your personal information is going to be as careful as you are. It takes just one mistake, and then all of a sudden you're exposed to hackers and identity thieves. That's why there's a new victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the United States. But fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock is going to monitor hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. If your identity is stolen, a LifeLock US-based restoration specialist will help solve it, guaranteed, or your money back. Plus, LifeLock plans are all backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, meaning LifeLock will reimburse you up to the limits of your plan if you lose money due to identity theft. You can't control how diligent other people are with your information, but with LifeLock, you can help protect it. Right now, save up to 40% off your first year. Promo code Patrick at LifeLock.com. So save up to 40% with the promo code Patrick at LifeLock.com. Terms apply. LifeLock, for the threats you can't control.
The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alessio is your hub for everything high school and college sports. Join Vince and friends as they give you the full picture on student athletes and where they're heading. Live interviews with coaches across the valley.
Asking some of the tough questions.
Varsity recaps and in-depth interviews with tomorrow's sports stars. The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alessio. Live every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. Here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Back here on the lunch break, Monday edition of the program. Chris Schubert here with you. Appreciate you joining us here on a Monday edition of the show. The NFL made some news today. A couple of teams made some cuts. And there's a cut that could make a lot of sense for the Arizona Cardinals. A player on a pretty good football team. A player who is pretty good at his position. Fits a need for the Arizona Cardinals. Checks a lot of boxes. And no, I am not talking about Jair Alexander, who got cut by the Green Bay Packers and now is going to become a free agent.
Which was also crazy.
Which was, on its own, a interesting decision. The injuries are the concern there, right? When he's out there, he's great, but the injuries are a huge red flag, it appears.
Something you circle.
Especially when they cut him, right? If you're going to go out and sign him, and maybe all right, I wasn't going to do this, but we'll start here with Jair. If you're any team that's going to be looking into Jair Alexander, you got to make sure. Like those medicals, you are going to go over with a fine-tooth comb to make sure that you aren't getting a ticking time bomb.
That physical that he's going to get coming into the, team meeting or whatever is going to be a pretty good run through.
It's going to be like
of his past injuries.
Carlos Correa's physical that got failed by 2 teams before he ended up going back to the Minnesota Twins a couple years ago. Remember, he went to sign with the Giants. Yeah. Giants failed him with the physical. Mets swooped in. They signed him.
They failed him.
They failed the physical. Like on the day of the press conference.
I forgot about that until right now. Yeah.
And then he just went back to the Twins. It was a wild time. So Jair Alexander is going to have a very most teams are going to probably only offer him a 1, maybe a 2-year deal.
I can't imagine.
Not going to be a long-term commitment.
3-year deal.
And so the Cardinals, obviously corner is an area that in the wake of Sean Murphy-Bunting's injury, people have been kind of pointing at, could they add a veteran? And Jair gets cut by the Packers and everyone's ready to swoop in on Jair. I think there's another name of a player who just recently got released that makes way more sense to me. And that is Jermaine Pratt in Cincinnati. The linebacker in Cincy, released today, was top 10 in tackles last year, was a team captain on the team. And I have always viewed the linebacker position as a serious weak spot for this defense.
I think both of us, when we ranked the positions, had that as their weakest group on the defensive side of the ball.
We said that this was the group that could use an upgrade, could use could use some beefing up. And so he got released today by the Bengals and now is going to be a free agent. Now there's an obvious connection with the defensive coordinator that was there in Cincinnati that now is in Indianapolis, Lou Anarumo, who's now there. So he may go there. That makes sense. But boy, if I'm the Cardinals, I am picking up the phone and I'm seeing what Jermaine Pratt is interested in because he checks every box. Position of need, absolutely. Top 10 in tackles, quality production still. Was a team captain there in Cincinnati, so great locker room guy, going to be a great morale guy, culture guy for this team. You don't worry about making waves by bringing him in. Sometimes you can bring in a player at a position of need, and now it's not a good fit with the rest of your team. It actually makes things worse, even though on paper it's a good talent. Jermaine Pratt, team captain. So that's a leader. That's somebody who is going to lift everybody else up around him, isn't going to make big waves, isn't going to cause issues. I like that, especially for a defense that's going to be the strength of this team, we think. They made a bunch of moves defensively to beef up their defensive line, drafted Will Johnson in the draft, have a really deep but young corner room. Linebacker was an area that, they made a free agent signing, but feels like they took a little bit of a step backwards. Here's a nice veteran that you can bring in that checks all of those boxes. And so if you made me pick between the two, Jermaine Pratt or Jair Alexander, I'm all over Pratt. I'm all over bringing him in over Jair Alexander. I've got an injury concern already in my corner room with Will Johnson. I don't want to add another. I'm already down Sean Murphy-Bunting. I can't bring in somebody who hasn't. Listen, the only reason why the Packers released Jair Alexander is because of the injuries. They didn't release him because he stinks. They didn't release him because all of a sudden he became a corner Swiss cheese, just letting guys buy him. That's not the reason why the Packers got rid of Jair Alexander. They got rid of him because they were paying him a ton of money and he wasn't able to stay on the field for them. So he's going to go someplace else and be a productive player. I just don't think it should be Arizona. I would be all in on Jermaine Pratt. Now, if they sign Jair Alexander, I'm not going to be upset about that. That's striking the market at a good time when a player shakes loose. It was a couple of weeks ago, maybe it was last week. I believe there was a buy or sell topic where I was asked to buy or sell the Cardinals making another splash. Right? I believe that was a question you asked me. And I said no. And that's not how Monty operates. So do I expect them to go after Jermaine Pratt and or Jair Alexander? No, I do not expect them to. It's not the way Monty does things. But I would be all over Pratt.
Think about it this way. Last year he finished 10th in the league in tackles, 143 tackles. The year before that, he had 118. He can play inside. He's played middle linebacker. He's lined up off the edge. He's played outside backer.
So here, he
gives you a look at versatility.
So I got versatility. So let's just go through the laundry list of things that Jermaine Pratt provides to me. Versatility. He provides me with leadership. He provides me still with production, was top 10 in tackles last year. He's only 29 years old.
That's what I was going to say, too. He's not old.
So this isn't signing a 34, 35-year-old linebacker who's still kicking it around and is just trying to latch onto a team to win a ring. I'm still going to get high production. I'm getting somebody who's a leader. I'm getting somebody who's versatile. I'm addressing a position of need. I'm addressing maybe the one weak spot on my defense with somebody who I know Cincinnati's defense is not a fan favorite, but he was one of the strengths of that defense. So, yeah, I'm making that phone call. I'm picking up the phone and I'm seeing what it would take to get Jermaine Pratt here. I'd gauge it. How much you looking for? How length of the contract? Because he checks all of the boxes. And it's rare for a player that checks the boxes in this way to be available at this stage of the season.
You think they could get him on a 2-year?
Yeah, you could probably get him on a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
I don't know how much he's looking for. It's also going to depend on how many teams are interested. What he's looking for. Is he looking to just latch on with a team that's winning a championship? Is he looking to go to a place that he's familiar with? That's why the Indy connection makes some sense. But Indy's not going to be very good. Evan's playing quarterback for Indianapolis this season.
I am.
So it's not going to go well in Indy. They're not going to be a good team. So what matters to Jermaine Pratt at this stage of his career? He's still young, so he doesn't necessarily have to ring chase, but he is getting up there. And so does he want to latch on with a team that he thinks can make some noise? JG is going to be the ultimate salesperson to anybody on the defensive side of the ball. We know that. So I would be all over this. Jair Alexander, not so much on Jair. I would maybe take a back seat to that one. But I'd be upset if they did it? No. But I would rather go after Jermaine Pratt than Jair Alexander.
I have a buddy who works in Cincinnati media.
Okay.
And so I just texted him, what's the deal with it?
Look at you.
And
working the phones.
He just got back to me and said, essentially, they wanted him to take a pay cut, and he was unwilling to do so. And so they're cleaning house on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, they may move Hendrickson too, and
maybe they got rid of Pratt because they needed the money for Trey Hendrickson. We know that situation is still way up in the air, and Trey has made it very clear he is not playing on his current deal. He will not show up. I mean, he did it last year. They readjusted his money, gave him a little bit of a bump, but he did that in the good faith of we're going to negotiate this next year, and they have not done so, at least up to this point. So, all right, so still a productive player, was just a financial thing, and so what does he get on the open market? Because while he may want a pay cut from Cincinnati, at this stage of the season, and I don't have the numbers directly in front of me, most teams have spent a decent amount of their cap space, right? So teams aren't flush with money and dollars and cap space right now to throw out there. So is he going to be able to get exactly what he had in Cincinnati? Is he going to be able to do better on the open market? Something to just keep an eye on. But boy, I'd be kicking the tires on this just to see.
At least give a call.
What exactly? Same thing we said with Tom Thibodeau when he became available for the Suns. You just make the phone call. You make them say no. Maybe it doesn't work. Maybe he's asking too much and it doesn't fit with your cap situation.
And why would he? Yeah. And we'll see what the number is.
Right.
Tell me what the number is.
Don't just assume. Don't assume that he's not interested. Don't assume that he's going to say no. Don't assume that it's going to be too much money. Don't assume. Just pick up the phone and ask.
Worst answer you're going to get is no.
Worst answer you're going to get is no. 480-864-1060 is the phone number for you to join us here today on the program. You can also join us over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream. And that's where some trolling was occurring of Evan that's making me chuckle to go into the break. Because John rightly points out, astute observation by you, John, I didn't even pick up on it in the moment, that you are correct. Well, the difference here is John says Evan didn't hang up on his buddy in Cincy. Now, he didn't pick up the phone, John, because I've been looking at him the whole time. That was a text message. So perhaps you stand better if you were texting Evan. Now, that's not great for a radio program where we like people to call in and I like to interact with all of you. But perhaps if you texted Evan, you would stand a much better shot. But you saw what he did there. He had to flex the muscles a little bit of, I got a buddy in Cincinnati who works in media, and I texted him. You were trying to flex some sources, even though they're not really sources. You just have a buddy who works there. But I saw what you did. It was impressive. But a lot of us could tell what you were doing, and John made sure to put you right in your place just to make sure very quickly that you were brought back to reality. That's very good. When we come back, Ryan Nelson did not fare well over the weekend for the Arizona Diamondbacks. What can they do about the state of their rotation? It's next on the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
James Out West, your home for sports down here in the desert. Join James and Pat the Stat Guy as they recap the weekend and dive deep into the numbers for the NFL, NBA, college sports, and more.
That's 5 seasons of 1,200 yards.
Player stats, team numbers, and contracts are just the start of the discussion for James and Pat.
He started 815 career games. He threw 749 complete games.
There's no hiding when it comes to stats. It's James Out West every Monday night from 6 to 7 p.m. right here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Ghost World Tour 2025. Ghost Theatrical Heavy Metal Arena Rock. August 11th, Footprint Center. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Don't miss Ghost.
Global Credit Union, how can I help you?
It's one of those voice prompts.
Representative! Good morning. How can I help?
Wait, is this a real person?
It's 2 a.m.
We're here to help members 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
Impossible.
At Global, possible. Learn more at globalcu.org. Global Credit Union, your world of financial possibilities.
Pool season is coming in hot. Before you make a splash, assign a water watcher to help keep kids safe. A water watcher is a capable adult who knows how to swim and perform CPR in case of emergency. Make sure they put away any distractions and actively monitor everyone in the group while around water. After everyone is done swimming, water watchers should scan the bottom of the pool and close and lock the pool gate behind them. Ready for more water safety tips? Visit srp.net/pool.
Hi, Luis Gonzalez here. Want to bet? Feel the thrill of Casino Arizona with 1,400 of the hottest slots and nonstop table game action. We make winners, no experience necessary. Join us for the best bingo in the valley with daily sessions. Indulge in all-you-can-eat Eagles Buffet or enjoy fine dining experience at the award-winning Choyo Steakhouse. Enjoy top-notch local entertainment, tribute bands, and viewing parties at CAZ Sports Bar, just off the 101 in McKellips. Casino Arizona, uniquely Arizona.
Looking to sell your home? Hi, I'm Andrew the Home Buyer, and I love making it easy to sell your house. I'll personally come and give you a cash offer the same day we meet, and I'll beat any other offer. It really is that easy to sell your home, and no need to clean or fix anything. I'll buy it in as-is condition. Call me, Andrew the Home Buyer, today to get your same-day cash offer. Visit andrewthehomebuyer.com.
Ooh, Del Taco?
Yep, they got these new boxes that are loaded with my faves.
Hell, big boxes, come on, can I get a Del, yeah?
Del, yeah.
What was that?
Oh, I bring these guys everywhere. Really enhances the experience.
Introducing El Big Boxes from Del Taco. Choose from the $5 Classico, the $7 Mex Faves, and $9 Amerimex box. More food, more flavor, more value. Only at Del Taco.
Del, yeah. Price of participation may vary.
Attention all clones. The Jim Rome Show is here for you every day here on KDUS AM 1060.
Lots to get done. Welcome to the program.
Listen in as Rome dives into the biggest sports headlines of the day. From final scores, player contracts and trades, team prospects, and even a spicy take or two. The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. every weekday here on KDUS AM 1060.
That's the trick.
Online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Back here on the lunch break, Monday edition of the show, recapping a disappointing weekend for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Last weekend, more disappointing than this weekend, right? That's where Corbin Burnes goes down and has to undergo Tommy John surgery. You won a game last weekend. You did not get swept by Washington like you did this weekend by Cincinnati.
And when you add in, they're just as bad. Because Sunday, you get the injury, and Friday, we just got news on the injury. So pick your poison.
Right, so I'm saying, which weekend is worse?
Initially, I was like, it's definitely Friday. But Sunday, the injury happened.
Right, so last weekend, you lose 2 of 3 to Washington, and the injury happens to Corbin Burnes in the one win. And we're all waiting all week long for how the MRI is going to look, and we're all bracing for the worst. We know that when a pitcher talks about his elbow being dead and is getting multiple opinions and is visiting Dr. Neil Alatrash in L.A., you just know. Everybody knows. Nobody wants to say it out loud, but everybody knows where this is going to end up, right? Everybody understands how this is going to go. So that was last weekend into this weekend. And then this weekend, you get the news on Friday. You'll lose Gabriel Moreno in that game on Friday. It rains. You have to play the game the next day. You lose both games on Saturday.
And the second one was...
That's going to be the topic of conversation here right now. So
it's this weekend. And it's because, and do you know why?
You're going to tell me.
Because you swept Atlanta in the middle of the week.
So because
you had, like, how would you rather have it? So you have the disappointing weekend, but then you sweep Atlanta. Or you sweep Atlanta and then we get swept.
You lose to Pittsburgh. You lose the series to Pittsburgh. You go into the series with Washington. You lose that series. You lose Corbin Burnes. You then bounce back and sweep Atlanta. And then you lose Corbin Burnes for the year and then lose this weekend. I mean, just the last week has been a roller coaster ride for this organization.
I mean, they're all over the place. They're all
over the place.
And it's for us, it's like, how would you like to pick your poison? Do you want the bad news in front of the good news, or do you want the good news in front of the bad news? Because they did sweep Atlanta in the middle. But Atlanta might just stink. They might just stink out loud.
Out of that series with the Diamondbacks, they went to San Francisco and lost 2 games in the most heartbreak. They lose the game on Wednesday in heartbreaking fashion to the Diamondbacks. And then it's just more heartbreak the rest of the weekend. They got walked off on a wild pitch, watched it happen against the Giants game, because that was the last game of the day. That was the late night baseball, so I had that on. Then the next day, Pierce Johnson, who threw the wild pitch the day prior, gave it up that day for them to lose. It was just a mess across the board for the Braves. So, yeah, the Braves might just be bad.
Which is so weird for us.
Well, for you and I in our personal teams, yes, it was. Yes, it's weird to see the Braves this bad, but it does put into context. Should you feel as good as you felt about sweeping Atlanta the way that you did? I still think going on the road to Atlanta, beating Strider, beating Sale, winning the way that you did, it still matters. It still means something.
It still matters, and it's where you lined up in their rotation.
Right.
If you had to beat Sale, you had to beat Strider, and then you had to give a 7-run comeback in the 9th inning. So all of those things. Context matters. We say that line all the time.
All the time. Context matters, and the context for that sweep of the Braves absolutely matters. John over on YouTube says this weekend was worse. You just swept the team on the road and then swept by a team with a worse record. Yeah, I mean, it hurts that they lose the way that they did on Friday night and extended into Saturday, right? That one hurts. Saturday night or Saturday afternoon, that one hurt, right? Ryan Nelson only giving you 3 innings, giving up 7 earned runs, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts, just looking absolutely terrible. Just not looking like the guy who was in the rotation, filling in for Corbin Burnes previously, making that spot start for Corbin Burnes, filling in for Eduardo Rodriguez's spot in the rotation when he was down with an injury. It just was not ideal, because Ryan Nelson being given a permanent spot in this rotation was a foregone conclusion. I thought he deserved it with the way that he pitched. He did deserve it with the way that he pitched. Even though you lost Corbin Burnes, and that's a huge blow, and you don't replace Corbin Burnes, you felt good about the idea that Ryan Nelson was going to get a run here as a starter because of what he showed you in the second half last year, because of what he showed you early on this season, filling in when he did. And then he just has a blow-up performance in just a spot where you can't have a blow-up performance. 3 innings, 4 hits, 7 earned runs, 4 walks. I mean, the 4 walks just stick out like a sore thumb. Just can't walk guys. Can't make it easy. Can't just gift free runners. Not in that ballpark. Not in that ballpark. Can't do it. Reds are going to make you pay. It's exactly what they did to a tune of a 13-1 loss in the second game of that series. And so producer Evan asked the question this morning, and I don't have a good answer for it. What do you do about this rotation? And you asked, do you go external? You can't go external when you're 3 games below 500. You can't entertain making a trade and bringing players in right now when you're 6 games out of the final spot in the wild card in the National League. You can't entertain any of that. The current group, I hate to make it this simple. The current group just has to play better. They just have to play to the back of their baseball card. Corbin Carroll has to be the player that we know he can be. Ketel Marte has to be the player we know he can be. Josh Naylor, up and down the lineup, they have to play to the back of their baseball card. Zach Allen has to pitch to the back of his baseball card. You have to get Merrill Kelly pitching to the back of his baseball card. He is. Brendan Pfaadt, Ryan Nelson, they all just have to pitch to the back of their baseball card. If they don't do it, then the season is just going to tumble over the next couple of weeks. Corbin Burnes is not walking through that door. Corbin Burnes not saving this team this year. Not saving him next year. You're not getting somebody. Christian Mano went down with an injury. I mean, you're out of options. You don't have anybody in the minor leagues that you're calling up right now. Any of your top prospects are still a ways away from being able to be big league contributors. I mean, you have to you got to dance with the one that brought you. And this rotation is the group that the Diamondbacks have right now. They've got to do it with this group. And then if they do it with this group, you can reward them and get some reinforcements. You can reward them and try to get somebody in here to help raise the floor. But right now, this is on them. It's on Zach Allen. It's on Merrill Kelly. It's on Ryan Nelson, Eduardo Rodriguez, Brendan Pfaadt. It's on those 5 guys. That simple. I hate to make it that simple, but it is that simple. Those guys just have to pitch better.
It is one of those things. We keep waiting for them to be better, right? I feel like we've done this segment 6 times where it's like, okay, yeah, but he's going to come back. We're going to get those Gallon starts. Merrill Kelly, throughout his career, has been kind of a calm hand when they need it. And it just hasn't happened. And so at what point does serious concern start to leak in? And obviously it already has, but
I'm giving it to the end of June.
Maybe we just think they are who they are, like at a certain point.
And that's why I'm giving it till the end of June. That to me is where I'm going to stop trying to give this team an out. And I'm just going to believe what they are. And that is a bad, flawed, underperforming baseball team. They get the month of June. They get series coming up against the White Sox, the Rockies, and the Marlins. Right? Those games are coming up. I mean, there's no better chance right there. There's no better time right there to turn your season around. That's what they have to do. They get Seattle starting tonight.
Who's a good baseball team.
They're a good baseball team.
With good pitching.
And my AL MVP.
Cal Raleigh.
What's
he on pace for 700 home runs?
66 home runs is what the current pace is, which would defeat Aaron Judge's record, right?
Yeah,
Judge got to 63. So 66 would...
Nobody close to 73.
Nobody close to 73.
Yeah, it's good for the American League.
Yeah, I knew you were going to do this today. I just had a feeling. If Cal Raleigh breaks the American League single season home run, this is very much a leftover story, but if Cal Raleigh breaks the single season American League home run record that Aaron Judge set a couple years ago and he doesn't win the MVP, take everybody's votes away.
If he hits, what's the number that he has to hit as a catcher where you're just like, give him the MVP?
I'm already there. I'm already
so
there.
hard
to do what he's doing.
To do what he's doing.
Yes. I know Judge is having a historically great season. I get it. I'm not taking anything away from Aaron Judge. But for Cal Raleigh to do what he's doing as a catcher and also a premier power hitter, and he's hitting for a decent average as well.
He's hitting 272.
It's not like he's hitting 210 with all these home runs. He's not Kyle Schwarbering it. But to do what he's doing while playing catcher, it's just incredible. My AL MVP, Cal Raleigh. 480-864-1060, the phone number. You can also join us over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream as well. When we come back, wrapping up today's edition of the program with the leftovers, all the stories that we didn't get to. It's next, the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
Ready to tackle each morning with the best sports information coming at you?
I'm going to take a logical approach.
Get that weekday mornings on KDUS AM 1060 from 6 to 9 a.m. with the Dan Patrick Show. Dan Patrick, the Danettes, sports icons, sports legends, celebrities, poll questions. The Dan Patrick Show has it all.
It's a crapshoot.
Be sure to lock your dials to AM 1060 or 100.7 HD2 from 6 to 9 a.m. Mornings just got better.
This story is about us.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. I am quite aware of the dangers being on the road. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. These families' lives will be changed in an instant. We fight for these families as if they were our own. We've become America's largest injury law firm by winning cases just like these. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Judas Priest and Alice Cooper.
No more Mr. Nice Guy.
The metal gods, Judas Priest. The godfather of shock rock, Alice Cooper. October 22nd, Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater with special guest, Corrosion of Conformity. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Presented by 100.7 KSLX, part of the America First Credit Union Concert Series.
Empty slogans and cute jingles. Lawyers love to act like they care. Do they back it up? Hi, I'm Mark Breyer.
And I'm Alexis Breyer. We're the husband and wife law team. One study found that half of all clients were unhappy with the lawyer they hired. The number one complaint, a total lack of communication.
We take client happiness seriously. That's why we survey all our clients and know that over 97% are happy. Do your research. Call the husband and wife law team first.
As a business owner, you wear a lot of hats. One minute you're ordering today's inventory, and the next you're planning tomorrow's expansion. It's complicated, but your business credit card should be simple. With the Signify Business Cash Card by Wells Fargo, you earn unlimited 2% cash rewards on purchases for your business with no caps or categories to track. Signify Business Cash, the deliberately simple business credit card. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/signify. Terms apply.
Join in on the Sports Zoo on your ride home from work with Dave Rooster Bierstein. Join Rooster as he lays down what's happening around sports and makes it clear what's on his mind.
Oh, my.
Catch the day's craziest stories and some of the latest numbers from the sports books across the valley. The Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Bierstein.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a wild option.
Weekdays, 5 to 6 p.m. on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Back to wrap up today's edition of the show. Appreciate you all being here on a Monday. Chris Schubert, lunch break, KDUS AM 1060. We wrap up the show every single day the same way. The leftovers, all the stories we didn't get to throughout the course of the program. And they are brought to us by the producer of the show,
Schmammer. I'm a huge nerd.
Producer Evan, take it away, my friend.
I went down a huge rabbit hole during that break.
All right, so is that what we're leading the leftovers with?
Yeah, so I just... You want me to get into it?
Please, it's what the leftovers are for.
All right, Cal Raleigh this year.
Okay, go ahead.
Has posted a 1,035 OPS. The highest OPS season by a catcher of all time is Mike Piazza in 1997, who posted a 1,070.
He did not win the MVP in 1997.
He did not. Larry Walker did.
Yeah.
Anyway, he hit 362 with 40 bombs that year. If Kyle Raleigh breaks the all-time catcher record at home run, he would have to win.
If he breaks the single season American League home run record that Judge set 2 years ago, he's going to make it a conversation. I still think they're going to give it to Judge just because of the incredible year that Judge is having. But a 270, maybe 280 hitting catcher that's going to hit 50 home runs and play that position for a Seattle team, that where does Seattle sit right now in the standings? That's also going to play a huge factor in all of this. Huge.
I believe second in the division.
Yeah, they're behind the Astros, if I'm remembering the standings correctly.
I think so, too, because they went through a rough stretch recently.
How far are they behind the Astros?
They're currently 2.5 back of Houston, 33 and 31. I told you this when they were 5 games up in the division, a month ago. They had no shot at winning this division because they don't score enough.
Well, no, Cal Raleigh hits all the home runs. See, that's the other thing that's going to work against him. If they're just a wild card team and the Yankees win 100 games, they're just going to give it to Judge.
Do you think the Yankees are going to win 100 games, though?
I mean, we thought Baltimore was going to be competitive for them, and they're not. Tampa's not. Toronto's not. The Red Sox.
Toronto's pretty good.
I mean, the Red Sox did just take 2 out of 3 from them the weekend.
Listen, I still think that division's competitive. Like, Tampa's better than we thought.
35 and 30, they're okay.
Toronto,
35 and 30, they're doing okay.
They've been pretty good. And Boston, they just took 2 or 3. They are do I think they're good? No, I don't think they're a playoff team because they can't get the pitching.
Well, hold on.
But on nights the offense explodes.
I have some good news for you.
No way. Did they do it?
It looks like today's going to be the day. It looks like today's the day Roman Anthony is going to get called up by the Boston Red Sox. It's not confirmed yet, but I'll do what you did to me earlier in the program. I know a guy in Boston who covers the Red Sox, and a little bit ago he tweeted that he is hearing that it might be Roman Anthony Day. So
this is I mean this is probably the best prospect I've ever seen.
Now it doesn't. I thought you were out on Roman Anthony for his conduct with the autographs.
Yes, yeah. Well,
I thought you were out.
But I'm back in.
Oh,
and
Jeff Passan, 21 seconds ago. The Boston Red Sox are calling up outfielder Roman Anthony, the best prospect in baseball. Sources tell ESPN Anthony, 21, is expected to join the team today.
So he hit a 500-foot grand slam this weekend.
Yeah, I think, they were probably already thinking about it, but then he did that, and they're like, man, we can't go through another week of this. We can't go through another week of just everybody, every time we do something, somebody tweets, call up Roman. Like, you just can't. So, good for baseball, good for the Red Sox, but they are a team that's they're under 300. They're 32 and 35, I believe.
Yeah.
Orioles are in the tank. Not like actively choosing to tank. They're just in the tank, meaning they're just not playing well.
Mm-hmm.
So, the Yankees may have a clearer path.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Could Skubal win it?
Could Skubal win the MVP? You know it's not allowed anymore. You can't be a pitcher and win the MVP. No.
Is the last to do it for Verlander?
In the American League, yes. Kershaw did it once, didn't he?
Yeah, I think that was pre-Verlander.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't know where it goes, but yeah, it's impossible now.
To be a pitcher and win the MVP?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you have to have such a down year offensively for a hitter and then have such a monster year. Like those Verlander and Kershaw years were monster seasons.
Yeah, they were.
Monster seasons.
So moving on to both the NHL and NBA playoffs.
Okay.
Both series tied at 1.
Yeah.
Look like we're in for a good one. Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals tonight. And we didn't get to all of my things in the leftovers, but one of my, in buy or sell. So I'm going to move it to leftovers. One of the things I was going to have in buy or sell, the NHL playoffs, and specifically the Stanley Cup Finals, is the best championship in sports.
Yeah, no, you don't even need to ask the question. It has become a just commonplace to know that the Stanley Cup playoffs are the best postseason out of any of the sports. It's just anarchy for 2 months. It's just straight up nightly chaos for 2 months. These 2 games have felt like 2 full months of chaos. Everything that's occurred in these 2 games. And you have the story of last year and Edmonton trying to right the wrong. They almost completed the comeback. They didn't do it. Just been a lot of fun.
Last story I want to touch on here before we have to go.
Can I very quickly mention in If anyone was surprised at what the Thunder did last night in response after losing game one,
Yeah, that was so predictable.
easiest thing of all time.
Yeah. USA Today posted an article this morning. 9 second-year NFL rookies who need to step up their game.
Marvin Harrison Jr.
He's 2. He is 2, but I think the most interesting one is 3 is Darius Robinson.
So 2 Cardinals. I mean, that's a little unfair to Darius. He got hurt, but okay, fair enough. Yeah, if they both step up and Darius steps up, makes it a really improved defensive line that much more improved. That's going to do it for us here on the Monday edition of the program. Appreciate everybody joining us here today on the show. Jim Rome, he's coming up next. Producer Evan, thank you for all that you do. Everybody, have a great rest of your Monday. We'll talk to you tomorrow. See ya!
AM 1060 KDUS